got us loaded, he's got the windows down for our air conditioning, and pulls out of the driveway. Everybody's happy, everybody's smiling, and then comes a delay. Now, what is a delay? A delay is anything that interrupts the progress that you think you're going to be making. And that's whether it's in your Christian life or in your everyday life. And what's the first question that comes up, or the first request that comes up 15 minutes into the trip? I gotta go to the bathroom. So Dad has to pull over and take care of the problem. So now everybody is gone to the bathroom, tension is relieved, Dad's back on the road. That was an easy fix. But what about the new Christian? What happens to him? He hits his first delay. And his first delay is this. He's got this joyous experience that he wants to share. And who does he want to share it with? He wants to share it with his friends. He wants to share it with his neighbors. What's the first thing that happens? They laugh at him. Or they ask him a question that he can't answer. So he hits his first delay. But he's learned enough to know that he's going to have a teacher before he can get back on the road. Now there's programs and pastors and people of Christian influence that help with that. The problem is we don't ask for that help. Why? Why don't we ask for help? We don't ask because we try to do it on our own. And we ignore the Father and the Father's teachings. That doesn't end up real well for us in the long run. So, in preparation for your journey, you got to have training. And you've got to be able to accept the knowledge and the consequences that go with that training. Just like when you're in school, they give you instructions. If you don't pay attention, what happens? Your cake goes flat. Okay? Then you're embarrassed. I've been there, I know. So, what we have to do is we have to pay attention to the training that is available to us. We can do it by reading, asking, talking, and attending. There are things that are given to us. God has given us this country. He's given us the freedom to worship as we choose. So you have a house of worship you can go to. You have ministers that you can go to. Sunday school teachers you can go to. Training programs you can go to. But we don't always do that. We back off. I'm too busy. Well, that causes you to have a delay. But eventually, you get back on track. You pray, you ask for forgiveness, you're back on track. So now, you're driving along, and something else happens. You're in the car, and somebody says, I'm hungry. Dad doesn't say anything, but if you're in the back seat, you can see his head go, So what are you hungry for? Well, I don't know. So you pull into this, back in the day, they had these drive-ins that you could go to. And you rolled your window down, our window was already down, had to roll it up a little bit. And they come out, they take your order, they go in and come out, they put this tray on the side of your car. And everybody has learned something different. Now, in my wife's family, ordering was very organized. You got a hamburger, a fry, and a shake. Everybody. There was nobody that got anything different. And my mother-in-law sitting here laughing because she knows that's true. So, in my family, it was chaos. It was organized, but it was chaos. And then you're trying to separate whose sandwich got, or who got what sandwich. So you're peeling it back, and the mustard's getting all over Dad's shirt and everything. So this is part of the joys of the family vacation, right, Carol? You've been there. You know what I'm talking about. She used to be a vivid, avid camper, so she knows exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, so you're getting fed. Now, after you eat, you're back on the road. You're traveling again. So what happens when a Christian gets hungry? What happens there? He doesn't have a restaurant he can go to. He doesn't have a recipe for fixing the problems in a Christian life. But he does have one thing, and that's God the Father. And after a period of time of trying to solve our own problems, we finally learned that, okay, maybe if I talk to God and establish a relationship and get myself ready, in other words, become prepared, I can handle some of these problems. And I can get through this without any major issues. So, the Christian goes, prays for forgiveness, asks for help with the issues set before him, resolves the problem, boom, he's back out on his journey, his faith journey, and his witnessing. So now, back to the vacation. Dad's zipping along pretty good. Everybody's fat, sassy, and fed. And wouldn't you know it, it's time to get gas. So here we go again. Another delay. You see Dad up there in the front seat of the car, and he says, well, we got to stop and get gas, so let's look and see who's the cheapest. Anybody do that? See who's the cheapest? See how close to empty you can run before you quit? We've done that. In fact, one time on vacation, we rolled into a gas station and a car died just as we turned in. Coasted to the gas pump and got gas. Well, by that time, everybody's kidneys have to be flushed, so everybody's out of the car, to the bathroom, back in the car. Dad's got the car gas. He's pretty relaxed, and he made it to the gas station, even though he was trying to be cheap. But we've all been there. We've all done that. And we do that with our Christian faith. We run that tank sometimes so close to empty that we don't know what to do. That's a delay, an obstacle in our Christian life. Putting off what we know we should be doing. Well, we're back on the road again. So here we're zipping along, everything zippity-doo all day, and pow! Flat tire. Now, I don't know if your family was like ours. But you know, I made a reference about those trunks in the cars, you know. You could put 4 or 5 people in there. Well, by the time we finished getting ready to go on vacation, that baby was spring loaded. I mean, you turned that lock and you stood back. You had to. Everything was tightly packed. And, wouldn't you know, where's the spare tire and jack? It's under the junk, okay? And as enthusiastic as Mom and Dad were about packing that, and saying, be careful with this, and be careful with that, and put this here, that there, Dad says, we gotta get this junk out of this trunk. Yeah. We gotta get the junk out of the trunk. Okay? So now, we're back to the Christian. The Christian sailing along in his faith, and pop, he has a flat tire. He has an obstacle. He has an issue. And he's trying to solve it again on his own. Now, that doesn't make much sense, does it? Because he's already been taught what he has to do to solve his problem. But he doesn't want to do that. There's this thing called pride. That's his obstacle. That's his flat tire. So finally, he breaks down, prays, and gets all the junk out of his trunk. Gets all of his junk out of his soul. So now that the junk's out of the trunk, he puts it back in place, gets his life back in order, back on his journey, happy, moving right along. And then, what happens? What do you think happens next? He hits a maturity spot. He hits a place where he thinks he can coast and still get there. So, while he's coasting, he's wondering, am I there yet? Now, what's the first thing you hear out of a kid's mouth after he's been in the car for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe 3? Are we there yet? And you got 3 kids in the back seat. And each one, every 15 minutes, asks the same question. So by this time, the air conditioning's not working real good in the car. You know, the windows are down, but the breeze isn't blowing like it was when you first started. The energy isn't there. The irritation is, and it's mounting. So you're in the back seat, you got 3 kids. He's touching me. He's on my side. He's poking me. Dad, can you do something? Dad says, you kids knock it off, or I'm coming back there. So, I'm the oldest kid, okay? So I'm sitting over here in the corner, the farthest away from the driver's seat. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, Dad, right. You're traveling 60 miles an hour. You're going to come back here, right? Yeah. Well, Dad pulls a fast one on me. He taps the brakes. And suddenly we're all in play. And there's 3 kids taken care of instantaneously without missing a beat. God the Father does that too. When we get out of line, he kind of taps the brakes. And he brings us all into play. He does it a little more gently, though, than my dad did. But the result is the same. Now, once he brings you back into play, back into the right frame of mind, you get your act together, and you continue to move forward. But the question's still there. Am I there yet? And you learn that, God has a mission. And as long as that mission is not complete, you're not there yet.